Alrighty, welcome back. In the last video, we have populated the skills in the battle screen. And, there we go. Remember, our magic wizard has one skill, but what we want to do is click on the skill, so once we click it, it uses it on the enemy. Now, all that logic is going to happen in the backend, but what is interesting is our character will need its take damage function so we can deduct his health. But the take damage type does not exist on the character plane. So character plane does not have a knowledge of, hey, I need to have a function called take damage. And that function is going to deduct our health. And then it's going to do extra checks. Is my health lower 0 or lower, then we end the game. I've lost the game. Or if I have any buffs on myself that I can revive, so when I'm 0, we trigger the revive buff. So we're going to need the take damage function. And if you're already a Unity game developer for single player games, you already know you're going to have this class object of character, which has a take damage method that gets called every time you are supposed to take damage. But how are we going to do this? Can we go to Strapi and give our character a function? Now, as far as I know, you cannot do that. But what you can still do is abuse certain things in Strapi to make this character builder type of thing. Now, we're going to be using components, a group of fields that you can repeat or reuse. So, for example, we are going to create our mechanics, skill mechanics. Actually, what we're going to do is, and looking at character, I'm supposed to look at skill. The skill will have a mechanic, these effects of the skill. If you cast a skill, it will deal damage. It will heal. It will stun. It will poison. It will do many things. We can make these components repeatable components. So maybe a skill can do 2 types of damage simultaneously, or in sequence. Hey, first we deal 15 damage. And then we will deal 20 damage of a different type. We can code the skill here, and we sadly cannot, as far as I know, make a function type here. Now, you can create a custom field, and you would have to dive deep into Strapi to create your own function indicator, I assume. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. I've never done that before, but I have a workaround, and we can do that in Typescript. So 2 things need to happen. I have to cast a skill, and then I have to trigger certain methods on the character because they get affected by the skill. So cast the skill. That's what we're going to do. And actually, I already did this. Cast skill on opponent is not opponent. Maybe you're healing yourself. And then we process it, as in we do the mechanics the skill needs to do. So how are we going to do that? First, I want to get rid of this error. So I already know a character will be able to take a damage, but I cannot edit this type. So with Typescript, you can extend these types. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to use union or intersection. I think intersection types. So the way that works is we have to create a new type that we're going to use. In this case, it will be type character, and we're going to call it full, which is equal to character plane and you can and we can now add a new property, a new type, merging it with character plane, resulting in character full. And all I want to do is I just want to make the type for a function. So this is a type for function, actually void, so it returns nothing. Now we do take in a damage amount. I'm going to call it number. So this is its signature. It's its interface. It's its type, character full. Now everywhere we use character plane, we're going to have to fill it in with character full. So character full. What else do we have here? Let me search the project. Character plane, Control-Shift-F, Control-V. Where do we do this? Populate skills as character plane. There we go. This needs to be character full. Character full. By the way, what you just saw there is Windows button V. It's a clipboard history. You can enable it by, I think, Windows button C or V. You can enable clipboard history. Very neat. Let's see. Do we use character plain anywhere else? No. So I've created a new character full type. So it uses character plain, but it also adds a take damage function to it. Now this doesn't cry anymore. But what is this? What is crying? We cannot find amount. Now we need to create our skills mechanic. So if you do skill to use, press dot. We only have cooldown, created add, description, ID, image URL. We don't have the mechanics. I want to know, like, if my skill has a deal damage mechanic, sure, we trigger on the opponent to take damage with the damage amount, but we never made that in Strapi, so we can do that using components. So let's go back. Let's go to skill. Add another field to this collection type. Now we're going to use components. So, oh yeah, this is always confusing a little bit for me. Add a new component. We have to create a new component because we don't have a component yet. I'm going to call it mechanic. Select the category, enter a name to create a new one. Mechanic. We have it here. Create mechanic. We have to give it an icon. Which icon would fit a mechanic? I saw, this is not a cog. Oh, I can search. There we go. That's a fancy icon. Advanced settings, can we? Why is this grayed out? Configure the component. No space out here. Okay, let's just call it, I guess, mechanic. Mechanic. Single component repeatable. No, this is going to be repeatable. And you'll, like, from these settings, you don't understand what I'm doing right now, but once I finish, you will see we have a component repeatable. Let me save this real quick and show you how it looks like. By the way, I just made skills mechanic, boom. It just added the type mechanic. What is mechanic? There's nothing because we made nothing. But our type system understands it. That's great. Now let's go to content type, skill, magic staff, mechanic. No entry yet. Click on the button below to add one. So there's nothing in here, but I can add an entry. I can add as many as I want because they're repeatable. And I can even drag and drop that. But let's not do that for now. Now, what's interesting here, these are basically reusable components. So I can make a component called damaging component, deal damage component. So inside of each mechanic, you have the ability to add another component called deal damage, called heal, called stun. Now, if you make the deal damage component inside of the mechanic component, the deal damage component will also open up a field of damage amount. If it's the fact that ignores invulnerability, maybe the type of damage, the targeting, if it targets AoE or single target. So let's go back now and continue improving this further. So component repeatable, add another field to this component. We can now add another component inside of this component. But first, my skill itself will need some sort of targeting function. So let's make an enum. We can call it targeting, and it will have single target or AoE, for example. Finish. It will have the duration of a skill, which is simply a number. So amount of turns. Now let's go quickly back and see what this looks like. Content manager, skill, magic staff, boom. There we go. So the targeting is a single amount of turns. I don't know, one, it's an instant skill. Like it instantly gets used. It doesn't have damage over time effect. We can save this. Now let's go back, but we're not done yet. Now we have to add the component of, let's see, this is going to be a single component. Let's call it damaging. Create damaging. Damaging. I don't know. Let's yeah, let's not spend too much time on this. Let's just pick a random thing. This one. Configure the component. Best for grouping fields like, yeah, now, yeah, you could actually make repeatable because you could have a mechanic. There's one mechanic that deals multiple types of damages inside of one effect. But let's keep it now simple. I want to show you the single component version too. So let's call it damaging and finish. So now inside of this component, we can say, oh, okay, we know damage. This mechanic deals damage. And what do you usually need with damaging? The damage amount. So that's going to be a number. Damage amount. The fact that it ignores invulnerability, maybe. Boolean. So ignores invulnerability. Default value null. Yeah, I'll just keep it like that. Finish. Can we go even further? No, we cannot make another component inside of a component inside of a component. And the reason for that is Strapi has decided that that is so nested, the performance would just drop significantly. Now, these are the main fields of a mechanic, targeting an amount of turns. We have a component damaging, but there is also the possibility of healing. So we can make another component called healing. Healing. It's, yeah, create a new component. Is there something cute? Healing. Nature. Star. Man, I wish they had more icons. Maybe we can make more icons. Healing. You need more game icons here. Oh, there we go. Oh, wait a minute. Heart? Does it have a heart? There we go. Okay, configure component. It is a single, yeah, again, just use repeatable to be safe, but in this case, I would just want to show you that it's just a single one in our proof of concept. Finish. Now, what does healing have? A healing amount. Healing amount. Integer. And that's it. Let's not overcomplicate it. So save. Let's go back to the type. See what's happening here. So the mechanic. Let's see. Once it started. It's already started. Inside of mechanic, what do we have? Ooh. Okay, so we have a targeting enum. Targeting, amount of turns is a number. Damaging, if it's damaging, healing. If it's healing, damaging has a damage amount and ignores vulnerability boolean. Beautiful. Splendid. Delicious. So now, yeah, let's go back to Strapi and actually fill in the mechanics for these skills. So magic staff. We already made an entry before. Let's actually start over. So boom. Targeting, it's a single target. It just works for one turn. Is it damaging? Yes, it's damaging. Damage amount is, what is it, 15? Ignores vulnerability. Let's just say false. Healing, it doesn't do any healing. Let's remove that and save. Now, in games, what you would also do is you would remove this description, and in the bootstrap, remember the bootstrap was works upon startup. When the game starts up, you can actually just dynamically, programmatically generate this description based on the mechanics, because we already know, hey, it's a single target damage amount, so this skill deals damage 15 to one enemy, and magic damage, you could have made a nature or a class field, also an enum, which is magic or physical or dark or light, wind, etc. And you could dynamically generate this description. Now, this is how you code a skill, basically, in an admin panel. Now we have to handle that in the backend. So let's go back. We have the skill to use. It's a skill plane. Skill has a mechanic, right? There we go, mechanic. What do I have here? You have an area of mechanics, so it's going to be for each mechanic. Let's just close this. Close that. All right, so for each mechanic, actually, hold on. Why is this crying? An argument for amount was not provided. So let's remove that. Actually, let's keep it that. Now, it's very simple. You could make a switch case statement, mechanic. If my mechanic is damaging, then we would have to check is what the targeting is of that mechanic. Targeting. Is it, so the case would be, is it of type targeting AoE? Then break, is it, wait, hold on, I'm assuming something. Targeting single, break, and default. Break. Let me Control A, Control K, Control F, and go back up. So see, we have all this. Typescript is making our life so easier. We do a turn, we grab the skill that we used, and we go through all its mechanics. Is it of type damaging? Okay, that means we have access to, hey, is it targeting? So in the case of AoE, we damage all the characters of the enemy, if the enemy had a team of 3 characters, but we only have 1. Is it single? Then we get our opponent. We have already fetched our opponent. We get his character. We do the take damage function with our damage amount of mechanic. Actually, that's not damaging amount. It's, let's see. Let's TypeScript help us. Damaging, damage amount. Boom. So we can remove this now. Now we also had heal. So it's simply, if mechanic is healing, maybe it will, mechanic healing. If it's healing, me heal. And that's it. So you can do that yourself. And we're not done yet, because if I now control-click take damage, it just takes me here, but we've never actually coded the take damage function. Now, we have to actually code the take damage function. Now let's remove this. How do we do that? I usually make a, let me remove the rest here. You could do character take damage. Actually, what am I doing here? Me character, no, opponent character take damage equals, and then code the entire function of what needs to happen. And the same goes for opponent character heal in this case. But anyway, you would have hundreds of functions like this. So if you know you're going to have a lot of functions like that, just make a new file. Just make a new script that handles all that. Actually, it's not even going to be in the do turn. That would be inside of when you construct the battle object. You subscribe all these functions, not even actually in the battle after you create the battle. Actually, yes, you do. Now, for now, if you start the game, you're going to do it very sloppily and after the battle gets created. But you're going to make a very robust game with hundreds of files and just with neatly structured code. But in this case, I'm going to make a new file called, what do I call it? Mechanics. Just store the mechanics here, TS. And I just want to make this one function. Like, after we've created the characters, I just want to do this. Register skill functions on player 1 character and player 2 character. Perfect. But it doesn't exist yet. So if it doesn't exist yet, let's just make it right now. Export const. It's a constant. Register skill functions is character. We take in a character of character full. It understands it needs character. We don't know. Hold up. Remove that. We need character full. Let's close this. Character full cannot find. I never exported that, did I? export, and import from character full, from battle manager. All right. So what we do is character take damage will equal my take damage function. But that take damage function, we still have to code that. This is just the registration of the function. So let's just do const take damage. Yeah, take damage equals an amount number. And then what needs to happen is, now here comes the tricky part. This is a very interesting part. Health minus equal amount. Well, hold on. What health? I have no knowledge of health. You would think you could do this. This.health. But we don't have a this. What? How are we going to do this? So you could pass in. So you could actually do this, I guess. Pass in the character, and then character is character full, and then do this. So it affects the health of the character that we pass in. But why does this not work? Void is not assignable to an argument for amount was not provided. Oh, oops. The thing is, I want this to be globally usable. I don't want it. I want to somehow subscribe take damage, because what we're going to do is we are calling take damage already on this character. Is it not possible to say something like, hey, the character I am calling from health amount, right? Is it possible? Actually, that is possible. And it's called binding. Now, in this case, we wouldn't need to, in that case, we wouldn't need to do this. We can just literally say, I want this keyword, this, to be of type character full. You can do that. But object is possibly undefined. Why is it crying? That's odd. It's not supposed to cry. Character take damage equals, then we do the bind. And why is it? An arrow function cannot have a this parameter. Ooh, I did not know that. Okay. So, yeah, this is an arrow function. It's a fancy way, a very less verbose way of notating a function. We give it, we give this function, we're passing it to this variable. So this function returns void, but apparently in order to do binding, you need to turn it into like the function notation. So what's going to happen is basically this function, and then we can remove the arrow function. And yeah, then it works. All right. So here we can register all sorts of skill functions. Well, there will be a lot of skill functions. So character.heal, character.stun, character.something equals, and then we code all the functions here and we bind it to the character. We called register skill functions here. Now we've exported it. Let's just import it real fast. That is fine. Let's clean this up. So again, we have created our characters. We register the functions to these characters. So register skill functions, character take damage equals take damage, the function take damage, but we have to bind it to the character so we can perform this. Now you can already imagine a better way to do this is actually, instead of doing this every time when someone creates a battle, when someone finds an opponent, just do this in the bootstrap of Strapi. So upon startup, fetch all the characters and cache them, and then register all the skills functions beforehand. And instead of doing a database query each time here, you will just fetch it from your cache in the memory. And you've already have done this, and you've already fetched it. Now, an interesting thing is, right now, as we have it here, it's not going to work because not only do we have to populate the skills, we're also going to have to populate the skills mechanics because it goes very deep. So we're going to have to basically do this. This is what Strapi wants to see, skills mechanic. And then inside of that mechanic component, we had another component that is skills mechanic damaging. Was it called damaging? I think it was called damaging, right? Healing and damaging, perfect. And also the possibility of healing. Do the exact same thing here. Let me just do this. There we go. Hit save. So what have we done? We created our own character full type because we need to subscribe functions that Strapi does not provide. We register these functions and then we start the battle. Ooh, there is something funny going on here. When this is opening, let's go back to the bootstrap. So we send the turn, we get my battle. We're not doing JWT validation. You know how to do that. You can just copy paste that. We get our battle and do the turn with our socket and data. So we'll go back to battle, the do turn. Here we're basically saying, hey, skills mechanic to use. We could actually even generalize this further into another script. This means we've successfully casted. You're going to do the validations here of cooldowns and manas. And then when it's successfully cast, you deduct the mana cost. And then you send the turn result. So now we're going to have to handle the turn result. Strapi is restarting. Now the turn result, let's go back to turn result. So how are we going to do the turn result? Remember, the backend is emitting, so we have to do a socket on. Just copy this and paste it with this amazing main thread execution queue and just change this into, let me fix this real quick. It was called turn result, right? Turn result. Let's copy that. Turn result, debug log turn result. And what do we do? Now, what's funny is we're basically sending the exact same player object that we did in start battle. So we could actually we could keep it like this, start battle, start battle. What you could actually do is just change this to process turn and process turn. But as developers are lazy, let's just reuse this so you see that it's actually, because of the types are the same, the handling is the same and it's all good. So actually, I don't need to do anything else. We're sending the response and it does its thing. The problem here is, so yeah, this is fine. So this is great that we did this. It's going to keep pushing skills into the skill parent, in the skill container. So first we have to destroy them. The problem with this is it keeps doing the same coroutine of getting the texture. So you're going to keep doing the same call, the internet call to get the image URL and download it. But the way you can fix this is once you get the texture, store the image, cache the image with its key being the URL and the value being the bytes, so that every time you make your new get texture function, it first checks, hey, does my cache contain my hashed image URL link, and does it have an associated byte data? Just reuse that byte data and convert it into a texture 2D. That's how image caching works in Unity. So let's go back. Now this should work now. We don't need to do anything else. Just let's do a build and run. I've probably messed something up, but we will see. The Legend 27. Search game with her. Dark. Search game with her. Search game. Boom. All right. So remember, we've already put the button on the skill. So if I now click this, it should send my turn, process the skill, and do its thing. So let's see. Boom. Did something happen? Ooh, something happened, didn't it? Ah, ping pong. Hmm. That is odd. And what if I do this? I think we're missing something. Let's close this. Let's see. So we have the mechanics. Register skill functions, player 1 character. Take damage, this character. Let's see. Do turn, me socket emit, opponent socket emit. Send turn, on send turn, and turn, send turn, socket, send turn is lowercase. Ah, there we go. Oh, it wasn't lowercase. Let's just do it all over again. We're gonna have to rebuild it. Rebuild it. The Legend 27. Search a game. Start this. Now remember, we have coded only the magic staff so far. So we queue, search game, there we go. Now if I click on the magic staff, it should work. Oh, it works. Now, did you see that? Because we're sending back the start battle, it's re-downloading the skills. That's why this is happening. So you would have to cache them. See, my mana is correctly being deducted and his health is correctly being deducted. It's beautiful here too. So, I can use this too. So boom, 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 boom. Now it wasn't, the object of type image has been destroyed, but you're still trying to access it. Yeah, you have to cache these images. Boom, boom, boom. Now the problem is, I can, as you can see, there is no waiting for my turn. So you're also going to have to do the logic of the my turn turning into opponent turn, so you cannot click, and it will validate if it's your turn or not first before sending your data. And we haven't made the end battle clause yet, but this is it actually. This is fine. You can do the rest. It's easy. This is the proof of concept. This works. Now, and I will make a very complex online game, just like with I've already explained this before, with battle phases, standby phases, and a lot of complex mechanics. So far, the goal of this course was just to make a very simple client-server architecture, so you understand that the battle logic is actually running in Node.js, the backend server. Now you understand that the front end is just processing data and just showing you what you can and cannot click, the player feedback. It sends your input and output, processes it, and sends it back. Now, specifically, this was in Unity. This same theory applies to literally everything that has a front end. You make your own server. You can even play this on your fridge, on your toaster, as long as it has a screen and some sort of front-end mechanism. Now, the course is not done yet. We're actually done with the game itself, but now we have to get rid of the fact that this is localhost. Now we have to actually deploy this on a remote server on DigitalOcean. So I'm going to end the video here, and the next video will be basically some DevOps, and we're going to be deploying this onto a remote server. So see you in the next video.